An elderly woman decided to film a short Q&A at home after viewers in her previous videos suggested there might be something wrong with her house. Sitting comfortably in her chair, she answered questions as someone behind the camera read them out loud. It all seemed harmless, with her voice being calm, the tone light-hearted, but the atmosphere in the room said otherwise.
Like there's things that are flying off the shelves and things.
I saw it once. Yeah, I saw it once.
Alright, we're going one more. This is from a lady called Miss Butterfly Lady. The ghosts are pissed off with the clutter in your house. So she's saying your house is very messy. Can you explain why your house is messy?
I'm waiting to go out to see to the new year, and the house is messy because Nathan, who is my young son, he would
grandson.
Help clear it up.
Grandson. I'm your grandson then.
My grandson, I mean.
Yeah, so you wouldn't help clear it up. Alright then. So there was one more question. A lady said, there's a lot of booze in your house. You know the bottles you got over there? She said, can you explain why you got so many bottles?
Well, I don't drink it myself. I collect them when somebody gives me some more, win it in a raffle.
How old did you say they are though?
How old were they?
Yeah, how old would you say all those bottles are?
Well, I don't know. It seemed to be a lot there. But I've got rid of some of it.
Oh, they're quite old though, aren't they?
Yeah, very old.
So yeah, we got 100,000 views. We got now 3,800 followers, subscribers. Can you say any final words to the people, the 120,000 people that saw the video last year on this exact day, as it's today is the 31st of December 2019, and tomorrow will be New Year's Eve. Tomorrow will be New Year's Day. So it's exactly a year ago it happened today, so we're doing an anniversary. So can you go?
I think it's all a load of bullshit.
Alright then. Alright, you got anything else to say to the people before we go?
Just what I said. What I said. I didn't mean to swear, but...
You don't like the internet and Wi-Fi and YouTube?
No, I don't get on with anything like that.
In the background, a string of Christmas lights began flickering at odd intervals, not like a loose connection, but in an uneven rhythm that drew attention once viewers noticed. Near those lights sat a small Santa ornament, perfectly still for most of the video, until the final moments. Towards where the clip ends, the Santa's arm twitches slightly, and several times, just enough to be noticed if you're really watching. The woman didn't seem to realize what was happening behind her, smiling and wrapping things up as the recording cut. But commenters were quick to point it out, with many saying they'd seen the same small movements in her past videos too. Whether it was a trick of the light or something else moving on its own, it left people uneasy, especially knowing she still lives there completely alone. The clip begins with someone quietly zooming in down a dimly lit hallway outside their bedroom door. Everything looks still at first, the camera steady, the only sound being faint breathing. But hanging on the wall, halfway down the corridor, is a guitar, and it's moving.
It's fucking moving. Look, it's my hand.
At first, it swings lightly, almost like it's reacting to air movement, but the longer the camera lingers, the more it shifts. The swinging grows wider, faster, until the sways are indistinguishable. Then, without warning, the motion turns violent. The body of the guitar starts hitting the wall repeatedly, the banging echoing through the hallway. The person filming doesn't move, too stunned to speak, just letting the recording run as the instrument keeps slamming back and forth like it's being pulled by something unseen. Eventually, The noise stops as suddenly as it began, the guitar coming to rest against the wall again. There was no explanation, no reaction, just the quiet aftermath of something that clearly shouldn't have been able to move at all. A man had just been woken up by loud banging somewhere in his house and decided to start filming to catch what was going on. The video begins with him sitting up in bed, the camera shaking slightly as he listens. The strange noises continue, muffled but close, almost like they're coming from inside the walls themselves. He hesitates for a moment, then gets up, his footsteps quiet against the floor. When he opens his bedroom door, it creaks loudly, the sound echoing through the still house. Breathing heavily, he steps into the corridor, following the noises to a small room on the other side of the wall they seem to come from. The hallway light flickers as he switches it on, throwing uneven shadows across the floor. He pauses outside the door, hand trembling on the handle, before finally pulling it open. Inside, the room is almost completely dark except for the faint glow from the hallway. But in that light, something can be seen sitting on the floor. It's a jester figure, fake but unsettling. Its painted smile catching just enough light to look real. It sits perfectly still, propped against the sofa, facing the wall. The man doesn't speak, just stands there breathing hard, the camera locked on it. The clip ends shortly after, time-stamped at just before midnight. Perhaps the jester had something to do with the noises. The next part of the story came not from the man himself, but from his basement CCTV camera. He had completely forgotten that he'd left the jester figure sitting exactly how it was the night before. But early the next evening, around the same time, he received a motion alert on his phone from that camera. Curious and a little uneasy, he opened the live feed to check. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. He saw just the same dark basement with the jester still sitting there against the wall. But as the footage played, faint shadows began to shift around beside it, moving like someone was pacing slowly just out of frame. The shadows flickered and stretched, but there was no visible person causing them. The motion sensor light didn't react either, as if whatever was moving wasn't physically there. He watched in silence, barely breathing, as one of the shadows seemed to lean closer to the jester, then vanish completely. The camera stayed recording for another few seconds before going still again. Nobody entered, nobody left, yet the shadows had clearly been there. It left him wondering if the noises that woke him the night before hadn't come from inside the walls after all, but from something that was still sharing his home, and now watching from below. A few nights later, more CCTV footage surfaced from the same basement, only this time, things looked different. The jester, which had been left untouched since the last recording, was no longer sitting in the same way. Instead of facing straight ahead, its head was now tilted sharply downward, chin almost resting on its chest. The man swore he hadn't moved it. Nobody had even gone down there. The camera kept recording in silence, the jester's shadow stretching long across the floor. Then, without warning, the feed jolted violently. The camera shook once, as if something had brushed against it, before toppling from its stand and hitting the floor. The screen turned sideways, showing only the irrelevant parts of the basement. There was no sign of movement, no one entering or leaving the frame, yet the fall was sudden and deliberate. Later that night, the man posted an update saying he'd been watching the footage live when it happened, and the moment the camera dropped, the lights upstairs flickered too. He hasn't been back into the basement since. Instead, he's been in contact with local buyers, hoping to sell the house entirely. He says he doesn't even care about losing money, he just wants to leave before whatever's in that basement decides to come upstairs. CCTV footage taken late one night shows a long, dimly lit hallway stretching deep into the building. At first, it seems completely empty, with just the faint hum of the overhead lights and the quiet static of the camera feed. But then, a pale white figure begins to take shape at the far end.
That's pretty good. How can we do that?
This looks like she's floating, Bob. You got it?
Oh God, that gives me the creeps.
Yep.
It doesn't walk or move like a person. Rather, it floats, gliding slowly forward with no sound, no footsteps, and no shadow beneath it. The figure drifts toward the corner before turning and disappearing completely from view. Seconds later, the feed cuts to another camera inside a nearby room. The same floating shape is now there, before it glides out again. When the security team reviewed the footage, they were reportedly terrified. None of the motion sensors in that area had triggered, and there were no signs of forced entry. Whatever it was, it moved freely through locked doors and cameras, as if the walls themselves didn't exist. It was a quiet evening in the house with nothing moving, and more importantly, no one home. This piece only lasted until the kitchen camera caught something unexpected. The room sat still for several minutes before, without warning, two cupboards pulled themselves wide open at the exact same time. They didn't inch open slowly like from air pressure. They jolted outward abruptly, stopping halfway as if pulled by invisible hands. Just as the cupboard stopped moving, the entire house alarm began blaring. The sudden noise echoed through the footage, the sound ringing as if someone had triggered a sensor or forced entry. But there was nobody there. The doors were still locked, the windows closed, and the motion system hadn't detected a single living thing. By the time the homeowners returned, the alarm had reset itself, and everything in the kitchen was back in place, except the cupboards still hanging open, almost like a reminder that whatever caused it didn't plan on leaving quietly. Two girls were on a late-night road trip, laughing and singing along to music as their car cruised down an empty stretch of highway. The air was quiet outside, their headlights cutting through the fog that hung low across the road. This was the route locals called the Haunted Highway, known for the woman in white said to appear walking along it at night. They joked about it earlier, not really believing the stories, but that was not for long.
I want to know why she's so fancy.
I think I see her.
Do you actually?
Unless that's just a light post, but it looks like something white over there.
Oh yeah. No, you guys, we're getting haunted. That's no.
She turned. Or wait, did she?
She's walking it.
As they turned a corner, one of them suddenly alerted the others that they saw her. The other looked up just in time to catch a glimpse of a faint figure ahead, dressed all in white, standing near the side of the road. Her posture was strange as she moved. The girl driving sped up, panicking, and the figure disappeared from sight as they passed. They looked back, hearts pounding, but the road was empty again. No car, no person, just the echo of tires on pavement. Whether it was someone real or the spirit people warned about, neither of them spoke for the rest of the drive. Chris had no doubt his house was haunted after the chilling evidence he caught in a previous video, where a voice had clearly told him to get out. Determined to keep documenting, he began filming again, talking about that experience and how it had changed the way he felt about being in his own home.
You can hear that, can't you? I can. Sound like tapping. Everybody's like, oh, it's the hutch. It's the hutch.
While he was speaking, faint tapping noises began echoing around him. They were well and truly impossible to ignore. Then it happened again. The same unmistakable voice commanding him to get out. Before Chris could even react, something nearby toppled over loudly, cutting through the silence and sending him into panic. In the aftermath of the video, Chris admitted he was more unnerved than ever, convinced the spirit wasn't just trying to make itself known, but actively warning him. He's now torn between continuing to capture proof or taking the voice's message seriously and leaving for good. Martio was spending a quiet evening in his bedroom, his cats curled up beside him, when he suddenly began hearing the sound of things falling somewhere else in the house. At first, he ignored it, hoping it was nothing more than the cats knocking something over earlier, but the noises continued and grew harder to dismiss. After about 20 seconds, he decided to grab his camera and leave the bedroom to see what was happening. As he reached the kitchen, the mess was obvious, as several cups were already scattered across the floor. Just as he was taking it all in, another blue cup fell, though the camera didn't manage to catch it hitting the ground. Marcio could be heard exhaling sharply, clearly shaken by the realization that something unseen was causing the chaos. In the aftermath, he explained that he had no open windows, no pets in the kitchen, and no explanation for why multiple cups would all topple at once. He admitted that he no longer felt safe walking into that room alone and was considering setting up cameras overnight to see what else might happen when he wasn't there to witness it. On May 1st, 2020, at roughly 4:30 in the afternoon, a family's quiet day took a strange turn when their home security cameras caught something they couldn't explain. The family had installed CCTV months earlier, mainly as a precaution after a few break-ins were reported in their neighborhood. For the most part, the cameras never recorded anything out of the ordinary, just kids playing outside, the dog wandering around, or the usual comings and goings of daily life. That is why what they found on this particular recording was so disturbing. In the footage, one of the interior doors slowly swings open on its own, revealing nothing on the other side. There is no person, no pet, and no sign of anyone who could have pushed or pulled it. The incident left the family deeply unsettled. They combed through every second of the recording before and after the event, hoping to find a clue that might explain what happened, but the area behind the door remained empty the entire time. They even checked the hinges and the frame, thinking maybe a draft or uneven flooring could have caused the door to move, but everything was sturdy and intact. Neighbors who saw the clip were just as spooked, pointing out how unnaturally slow and deliberate the movement looked. Since then, the family admitted they no longer feel the same comfort in their own home, describing the experience as a reminder that sometimes the strangest things happen in broad daylight when you least expect it. C's Crazy Crossroads is a YouTube channel run by a ghost hunter with over 50,000 subscribers, known for exploring terrifying locations on his own and sharing the results with his growing audience. In one particular video, he ventured into what's become known locally as the contractor's haunted house, a place so notorious that even seasoned investigators hesitate to step inside. According to him, the energy in the building was overwhelming the moment he entered, like the walls themselves carried a heavy weight of history.
Wait, I'm shaking. I'm shaking. Oh, what the holy... That was up here in the closet. That was right here. That ball. How did it... Holy shit. How the... All right, where am I at? Because I'm not making it. I'm getting the hell out of here. This is not fun. I'm freaking out now because it seems like it's toying with me. Oh man, I'm only at 15 minutes. Oh boy. Okay. All right, I'm gonna leave you there, ball. Don't mess with me. All right. So there's nobody, obviously, in this room. There's nobody in this room. Guys, there's nothing in this house other than whatever friggin' spirit Nothing in this room.
While filming, a sudden dropping noise caught his attention. He spun around quickly and captured a basketball rolling across the floor, seemingly without any explanation. To make things even stranger, he then walked into the next room and showed viewers the closet where the ball had originally been stored. To ensure transparency, he also panned across the surrounding rooms to prove they were completely empty, ruling out the possibility of someone hiding. The video left many of his fans convinced that he had captured real paranormal activity. C himself admitted afterward that it was one of the most intense solo hunts he had ever done, and the basketball incident was only the beginning of the unsettling things he experienced there. So subscribe so you don't miss the future ones. Tim Morozov is a ghost hunter with an impressive following of 648,000 subscribers, known for diving headfirst into some of the most unsettling places with very little hesitation. His channel has built a reputation on raw, uncut footage that leaves little room for doubt, and his subscribers love him for it. In one of his more intense uploads, he wrote in the description, "This time, I'm examining the damn house with a poltergeist. This is a terrible night." That set the tone perfectly for what was to come.
Пока никаких показаний нету. Черт возьми. А где он стоял? Ничего нет. Никаких показаний.
As Tim walked carefully through the dark house with his motion detector in hand, a sudden crash echoed through the silence. A piece of pottery had been hurled to the floor. Clearly shaken but still curious, he moved toward the room where the sound came from. The shattered pottery lay scattered on the ground, and Tim decided to test his device, pressing the motion detector directly against it. Strangely, the device didn't beep at all, suggesting that no living presence had caused the violent act. Tracy and her family had long accepted that their house was haunted, but unlike most, they believed they knew the exact source. It all centered around an antique cabinet, a piece passed down from Tracy's late grandmother. While beautiful and valuable, it carried an unsettling presence. Over time, it became clear that whenever strange activity happened in the home, the cabinet was at the center of it, with drawers opening on their own, noises echoing from it, and even sudden cold spots around where it stood. Determined to prove it,
several buildings set alight, really the worst violence that this city has seen for several months. But now it looks like it has calmed for the time being, although you can never discount that the demonstrators are not regrouping in other parts of the city ready to come back. All the while, of course, the debate rages on inside Parliament, the MPs continuing to debate with pretty high tempers, really, over this barrage of austerity and cuts which is to come in this country in return to those all vital bailout funds. We're expecting the vote on the package to come at 1 a.m. local time, that's 2300 GMT, but this is a place where deadlines come and go with remarkable speed, so I wouldn't hold your breath just yet, Fiona.
We had a demonstrator on the telephone earlier saying to us that we're showing these pictures of the violent protesters and sort of concentrating on that. She wanted to make the point
As she filmed, one of the cabinet's drawers slowly slid open by itself, and moments later, the drawer next to it followed suit. To dismiss any claims of trickery, she circled the cabinet with her camera, showing there was nobody behind it and no strings or wires attached. For the family, this was the confirmation they needed. They had already been talking about letting the cabinet go, but given its age and value, they didn't want to simply throw it out. Instead, they've been searching for someone willing to buy it, hoping that parting with the cabinet will bring peace to their home once and for all. Until then, the cabinet remains in their possession, and with it, the unsettling activity continues. Diane had lived in her house for years without issue, but lately she had been feeling watched, especially at night. One evening, she noticed what looked like a human shadow lingering outside her front door. Heart racing, she rushed to check, but when she opened the door, the porch was completely empty. Uneasy, she returned inside and decided to film in case it happened again.
There's literally...
Pointing the camera toward the door's frosted window, the blurred outline of a figure could clearly be seen with broad shoulders, a tall stance, and even what looked like a hat perched on its head. Gathering her courage, Diane swung the door open, but once again, there was no one there. The quiet night air was still, leaving her with more questions than answers. Convinced this was something beyond normal explanation, Diane shared the video, and many agreed it had to be paranormal. She admitted afterward that she couldn't shake the image from her mind and feared the figure might return. And the strangest part is that she feels like this might only be the beginning.
Now let's get to the Ring cameras. We have Ring cameras and cameras all around the property and in every room of the house except for our bathrooms. This is what the Ring camera shows when I walked outside, which was 9:50 at night. You'll see the timestamp in just a second. Had we deleted the video, it would not be there. It just doesn't load. We have had this issue with our Ring camera before, but then why did it catch the video after? In case you didn't see, the video after is at 10:23 at night. I initially recorded the video and sent it on Snapchat to my 8 best friends, and then Eddie, and then Joe's actually the one that was like, bro, you need to post this. And I was like, I don't know how Jared would feel about it. Now I'm gonna get into the layout of our home and where it happened and explain why certain things wouldn't work. This is the hallway during the day with maximum light. To show the lights behind me, that is gonna be our hallway to our pantry and our bathroom. This is during the daylight, so when the light would be at maximum, as well as our kitchen, maximum light as well. How long the hallway is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are big stakes. 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe. To the front door. I was zoomed in and walking fast. The front of our house where somebody would be. For them to run, where would they have to hide? It goes straight out, guts out. This way, another commercial building, it juts out. They would also have to jump down into this drop of a fence and go that way. All out front, the most someone could have done would have maybe been behind a tree, but we would still have got that on the Ring camera. Also, another Ring camera that would have caught somebody too. To debunk this, I think that the best comment I got in the comments was maybe it was somebody across the street and say someone was in the parking lot and lights were shining on them onto our door. Now that's a big light being shown. I also didn't see anybody, but that to me is the most probable cause. Now let's get to the coat rack to show why that wouldn't work. To those of you saying, oh, the coat rack's reflecting. From what light in here, at any point, you're not able to shine light on the coat rack because our walls are too deep. The coat rack is hidden in the corner. Light cannot shine on the coat rack onto the window because there are no lights here, and these lights do not reach. Too far, too dim, no light in here reaches the coat rack. It is not the coat rack, but I get why y'all would think that, because there are hats on the coat rack. Now, to those of you who think that we did it, which I can literally assure you we did not, this is going to be the angle from the living room where you can see that side of the door. Someone's like, oh, they're shining from in there. Well, first we'd have to be on our couch, but look at the way the reflection would be. So if I'm right here and say I'm doing this, it's still not going to reflect accurately onto the window. It's going to go beneath, and then you're going to have a line from the couch. It would have to be like a spotlight. So again, the lighting doesn't work. And please don't start with the staircase, because our staircase, our ceilings are like 14-foot ceilings. It would not shine down like that without there being a reflection on the floor. I think that's everything, and I really hope this video doesn't feel rushed. I'm just in the middle of my work day, and I was like, let me go ahead and try to show everyone why this doesn't work. Comment in the comments what else you want to see, if there's anything else you want me to debunk. I still don't know what I saw, okay? A lot of you asked for the house history, house tour. The house history is fascinating. Y'all just comment what y'all want to see.
Two sisters had set up a quiet game of chess in the living room, planning to spend the next hour or so laughing and competing against each other. The house was calm, there were no windows open, and nothing felt out of place. But halfway through the match, something caught their attention.
Lleva mucho rato en eso. Déjeme, yo grabo mi hija porque... ¿Jessie está venteando o esto está echado acá?
No, todo está echado.
Ay.
Vamos a mirar.
No.
Venga.
No, parce, no.
Behind one of them, a set of dangling ornaments began to sway and shake on their own, despite there being no draft in the room. At first, they tried to brush it off, but just as the atmosphere grew tense, a small table scraped forward with a loud noise, sliding slightly in their direction. Both froze in place, eyes wide, when suddenly the kitchen drawer in the background began to open on its own. Before they could even react, an entire cupboard burst open and a handful of pots and pans clattered violently to the floor. That was enough. The sisters abandoned the chess game and ran out of the room in fear. Neither had ever experienced anything like it before, and it left them shaken about staying in the house at all. This incident came from a security team monitoring CCTV in a car park late at night. Their job tended to be very boring, but little did they know that this one was going to be spiced up a little. Have a look.
See the white thing over there? Yeah.
In the clip, a red Jeep was parked quietly among the other vehicles, when, without warning, the driver's side door creaked open on its own. No one entered or exited, and the surrounding area was completely empty. The security guards watching the feed were stunned, unable to explain how it could happen when the car park was locked down and quiet. After a long pause, the door slowly shut again, closing firmly, as if someone had pulled it from the inside. Later, it was revealed that the Jeep was home to the death of a cat. While the guards didn't know this at the time, some who have seen the clip believe the strange activity might have been more than just a mechanical fault, and possibly the spirit of the animal making one last return. It was a stormy night, the kind where the wind itself seemed alive, howling so aggressively it bled into the entire recording. A man decided to explore a haunted house, one that had gained a reputation in the area for strange noises and shadowy figures. He walked through the hallways that looked like the back rooms, but at first, nothing out of the ordinary happened. The only sound was the wind whistling through broken windows, rattling everything in its path. After a while, though, a piercing noise echoed through the building that sounded like a siren, the kind installed years ago to detect movement inside. That was the moment his nerves started to shift. Later, when he reviewed his footage, the most chilling detail became clear. As he pointed his camera towards a far corner, a shadow figure leaned out briefly, as if to watch him, before slipping back out of sight. He was very fortunate he left the place after the alarm went off, or who knows what could have happened. Antonio had been home alone that night when he decided to head downstairs, his phone in hand. As he reached for the switch, the lights refused to turn on, leaving only the dim glow of his camera to cut through the darkness. He kept walking cautiously until he reached the dining room, where the table sat still and untouched. That's when it happened.
Tengo mucho miedo. Me quedé solo en la casa. Me han pasado cosas desde que vi ese maldito video. Escucho cosas. No hay luz. No sé qué hacer. Escucho muchas cosas. Ay, Dios, tengo miedo. ¿Qué pedo? ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Qué pedo?
One of the dining chairs scraped against the floor, pulling itself back slowly but deliberately, as if someone had pulled it. The sound echoed through the house, and Antonio froze in place, his breathing sharp and unsteady. The clip cuts shortly after, leaving viewers unsettled and speculating. If the chair could move with such force, what else might have been lurking in that house waiting for him? Who knows how much worse it might have gotten once the camera stopped recording. Dana had been on edge for weeks, convinced that something was off in her apartment. That night, she set her phone up while doing her makeup, determined to document what had been unsettling her.
Bueno, me puse a grabar porque estoy escuchando cosas. Entonces, el rímel. Me manché un poco. Uy, quedaron súper bonitas. Abajo también. No entiendo por qué. Mejor me hago rápido y yo me voy. Es que chicos, yo estoy sola. Voy a ir a ver. Voy a ir a ver. Sí, la verdad no sé por qué es así, pero bueno, voy a acabarme de hacer rápido, pero el pelo. Yo como que me voy así peinada porque la persona así.
As she brushed her hair back, the bangs and creaks she'd grown used to suddenly grew louder and more erratic, echoing through her place as if something invisible was pacing the walls. Just as she was about to laugh it off, she started to have a nosebleed, sending a wave of panic through her. She grabbed a tissue, went to the door, opening it to the dimly lit corridor outside. Nobody was there. The hall was empty and silent. Relieved but unnerved, she went back to do her makeup, only to see the lock on her front door start moving on its own accord. She opened it, revealing nothing but an empty hall once again. She is seriously considering moving out. Two police officers in Nayarit were on late-night patrol when they were dispatched to an elementary school after reports of strange disturbances in the area. It was 3 a.m., the streets silent, and the building was very dark from inside the gates. They parked their unit out front, one of them filming while they scanned the grounds for anything suspicious.
No manches, sí, mira lo que estamos viendo nosotros ahorita a las 3 de la mañana.
For a brief moment, two small figures could be seen moving inside the school before quickly darting away, as though they knew they were being watched. To the officers, it appeared like children, but given the hour, the locked gates, and the emptiness of the grounds, that explanation didn't make sense. The figures were never identified, and both men later admitted they didn't believe they were dealing with real kids at all. Many believe what they saw were restless spirits, lingering within the walls of the school long after closing time. The following night, or more accurately at 2 o'clock in the morning on September 16th, the same officers returned to the elementary school, still unsettled by what they had seen the night before. This time, instead of staying in the safety of their patrol car, one of them stepped out into the cool night air and walked straight to the school's front gates.
Dale, güey, dale, vámonos. Buenas noches, señores. Aquí estamos grabando un videíto, otro video para todas las personas que dicen que quieren segunda parte del otro video. ¿Qué les podemos decir? Nosotros no afirmamos lo que se vio en el video, pero tampoco decimos que es falso, ¿verdad? Ahorita le vamos a mostrar la escuela por fuera, porque por dentro pues no pudimos ingresar todavía, ¿verdad? Son casi las 2 de la mañana. Esta es la escuela. La escuela de aquí de Nayarit. Sí se ve el video, para que no empiecen a decir que vale madre la calidad del video, ¿verdad? Esta es la escuela. Ahorita le vamos a mostrar la puerta donde se miraron lo que se miró. No quiero decir qué es lo que se miró. Es esta. Esta es la puerta. Ya está una lona que no sé qué quiere decir. Vamos a bajar. Ay, cabrón, la chingue. Ese es el cancel, ¿verdad? Esta es la escuela por dentro. Son los salones. Vamos a darle la vuelta caminando, ¿verdad? Quita otra ventana. Esta es la escuela 16 de septiembre de aquí de Nayarit, Jala, Nayarit. Vamos a darle una vuelta a la escuela. Por esta escuela, señores, nos ha tocado escuchar muchas cosas en una cancha que está allá al fondo. Allá al fondo está una cancha. Ahí donde seguido escuchamos que el balón, pues más que nada, a esta hora, que andan jugando fútbol, básquetbol, y pues realmente pues no es nada, ¿verdad? Pronto estaremos adentro, ya que nos den chance a las autoridades para poder meternos, ¿verdad? ¿Qué le podemos decir, señores? Yo no quiero que me crean de lo que se vio, ¿verdad? Nosotros tomamos unas fotos a las escuelas y es lo que se vio en su momento. No es cámara profesional, para que no empiecen a decir que no se ve nada, pero pues Ahí les dejo este video para que ustedes mismos chequen, saquen sus conclusiones, vean qué puede ser. Pues así que aquí por afuera pues no se puede ver mucho, ¿verdad? Pero pronto andaremos por dentro. Este fue aquí el zaguán, ¿verdad? Ahí nos guachamos para la próxima, señores. Ahí estamos, pendientones. Y para los que no creen, pues nada más no crean, pero pues tampoco insulten, ¿verdad? Porque pues ninguna mordida le pedimos a las personitas esas. ¿Cómo crees que la vamos a andar pidiendo mordida? Saludos, señores.
His flashlight swept over the empty yard beyond, the silence almost suffocating. No movement, no sign of anyone inside. Wanting a better look, he circled part of the perimeter until he came to a section of wall with barred windows, large enough to peer through. He pressed his face close to the cold metal with his phone camera on the other side, but again, nothing happened. The officer filming explained to viewers that, as officers, they would eventually be allowed to enter the school officially, but not yet. For now, all they could do was watch from the outside, waiting for the chance to investigate what truly hides within the grounds of the school. Ian, better known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter, has spent countless nights exploring the eeriest places across the country, and this abandoned theater has already given him plenty of reasons to return.
I heard you loud and clear. It literally came from up here, and it echoed. Oh my God, that perfume smell is getting stronger up here. Hello? Oh, holy shit! Oh my God! Dude! I just fucking saw her right there! It looked like a woman in a dress. She walked into the hallway. I gotta follow her. She went down this way. Oh my God, every hair on my body is standing on end. Where'd you go? I saw you go this way. I feel like I heard her say Mabel. It sounded like an M. Now that I think about it, that voice from earlier, it sounded like Mabel. I'm smelling that perfume smell again. Holy shit! Holy shit! No freaking way! Look at that! That thing just came undone! I'm at a loss for words. She just peeked around at me from this curtain.
He slowly makes his way up the grand staircase. He mentions quietly that he just heard a voice echo above him, and as he climbs higher, he pauses, sniffing the air. There's a sudden, strong scent of perfume, completely out of place in such a decayed building. For a moment, nothing happened, but then a figure he described as a woman in what looked like a dress stepped into the hallway ahead, completely silent. Ian bolted forward, his voice rising as he asked where it went. He turned a corner, his light catching the theater's old dressing rooms, and just as he reached one, the curtain across the far wall pulled itself back with no one touching it. Ian froze in fear. Subscribe if you want to see what happens next, because Ian's not done with this haunted theater. Kokoko, the Japanese explorer we've covered before on this channel, is back again with another terrifying adventure. This time they visited the Shinshukanko Hotel, and it definitely had the viewers talking. The hotel has long been whispered about as one of the most haunted spots in the region, and KOKOKO's exploration proves why.
言ったよね。
なんかありました？
いや、見えない。何今の音？何今の音？
翔ちゃんたちの音ではない。
ないよね。ちょっとこっちなんだろう。わかんないな。暗くてわかんない。
As he and his friend moved through the decayed rooms, the silence was shattered by what sounded unmistakably like a baby crying somewhere deep in the building. At first, they brushed it off and continued exploring, but when they entered another room, the sound came again, except this time it was much louder, sharper, and far more prominent. None of them could explain it, and the unease that you could feel through the screen made it clear they weren't expecting it. The mystery of the crying only adds to the disturbing history of this hotel, and the story is far from over. This investigation will continue in a future video on my channel. The Chilling Floor, a channel we've looked at before, uploaded yet another spine-chilling investigation in the exact same creepy castle as last time, based in the UK. The video shows the man behind the camera heading towards the staircase and standing at the top of them, when suddenly, noises start echoing from the lower floors.
We're doing a ghost hunt from a haunted castle. We're in a haunted castle. It is proper creepy. Oh, who's that? Did you hear that noise? Down here, I swear to God. Is there someone there with us?
Come this way.
Honestly, I heard banging down here. I swear to God. We're in a haunted castle and it's proper freaky. I just heard some banging from down here.
Standing at the top of the stairs, the man begins by asking the direct questions. Is someone there with us? Almost immediately after, heavy bangs could be heard below, loud enough to shake the confidence out of the cameraman. Bravely, he descended to check, but once he reached the bottom, the space was completely empty. No one was there with no explanation for it. Alexis had been relaxing at home when he suddenly heard the front door rattling with heavy knocks, loud enough to make him jump. At first, he thought it must have been a delivery, or maybe a prank, but the noise was so persistent that he finally grabbed his camera and walked over. When he opened the door, the driveway stretched out in front of him completely empty. nothing even remotely out of place. He shrugged it off, clearly unsettled, but with no answers. But the real twist came from his wife. After the clip cuts, she revealed a photo she had taken inside the house at nearly the same moment. In the picture, a womanly figure could be seen, standing right where Alexis had been looking. The strange part was that he hadn't seen anyone at all. It was as if the figure could only be visible from inside the house through the glass. The couple were left with more questions than answers, wondering why only one of them seemed able to see what was there. Two friends were hanging out late at night, sharing drinks and laughs while one of them recorded the other singing and dancing around the room. The mood was light-hearted, nothing out of the ordinary, until something completely unexpected happened.
You're fucked. What? What? What are you doing? Did you not hear that? No. Are you sure? I can hear that. Sinji.
As the camera focused on the woman dancing, the large mirror behind her suddenly shook on its own. The drunk woman froze mid-performance, her face instantly shifting from joy to fear. Without warning, she bolted back to the bed, clearly startled by whatever she thought she had just seen. The person behind the camera, a little confused and tipsy themselves, didn't notice anything unusual in the moment, but watching it back later raised an unsettling question. What could she have seen in the reflection that the camera and her friend didn't? Aria had checked into what was meant to be a quiet and uneventful stay at a hotel, but what she captured instead left viewers unsettled. The clip begins with her already in full panic, sprinting through long corridors while screaming for help.
Somebody help me! I'm feeling good! Help! Somebody help! Please! Somebody help me, please!
Her voice echoes through the empty halls, raw and distressed, as if she was being chased by something unseen. The sound of her desperate cries was what struck people the most, because it wasn't the type of scream someone fakes for attention. It was the sound of genuine fear. The footage cuts before we see what she was running from, leaving only questions. Was it another guest, something in her mind, or something far darker hiding in the hotel? Whatever the truth, this is just the start of Aria's terrifying experience. Not long after, another video surfaced, this one from hotel security footage.
Y'all, so here's video of that girl that posted, and I'm gonna let y'all know now, it gets really weird. It's like she acting like she's running from something or hiding from something, but there's literally nobody else in the frame. Like she tweaking.
Yeah, it is weird.
And the elevator door is not even closing. Like she playing hide and seek or something. But look, this ain't even the craziest thing. Like now the elevator, look, the elevator door is closed. This ain't even the craziest thing about this video though. I got like more video to show y'all, and it just gets super weird. So y'all just stay tuned.
It shows Aria from a different perspective, bolting down the same corridors while glancing over her shoulder again and again. What makes this footage unnerving is that she appears to be fleeing from absolutely nothing. No one is behind her, no shadow, no figure in sight. To anyone watching, she looks almost out of her mind. but the sheer terror in her movements makes it hard to believe she was imagining it. Even in the elevator, she was ducking behind corners. With both angles of footage now out there, the story only grows stranger, and there may be even more to uncover from this night. Not long after Aria's terrifying dash through the corridors, a new angle of the story emerged.
It's like all my stuff is just left here. It's crazy. You said what?
Don't get me on camera.
No, this is ridiculous. What the heck is this doing in here? Yo, hold on, y'all. Why the fuck is this in here? Hold this. Yo, y'all. This is crazy.
Oh my god. What? What?
At least you got some stuff you can take home.
This time, a hotel security guard entered one of the rooms with another staff member. The sight inside was shocking, with items scattered everywhere, and the place was in complete disarray, as if someone or something had torn through it. As they searched, they came across something even more unsettling: a hook that could be used to open other people's rooms. The discovery raised new questions. Was Aria running from a ghost, a person, or something else entirely? And if it was a person, why would they have access to something so dangerous inside the hotel itself? Nothing else was clarified, and the mystery only deepened. The last video in this chilling sequence came directly from the hotel's own security system.
Alright, y'all, so I went back and was looking at the video of that girl from the other day, right? Because I'm thinking maybe somebody must be following her, because I found that thing in the bathroom. Like, you know, it makes sense that somebody's probably following her, because not just any person is going to have that tool. I mean, that tool is for getting inside of rooms. So just keep watching the screen right here, man. I saw something that just, because I'm thinking somebody's following her.
Watch, let me fast forward. Watch this.
Watch. That's just the housekeeper down there.
See?
Right there. Right there.
I don't know what that was.
This is crazy. How do y'all explain that? Somebody explain that to me. And y'all think that's crazy? Keep watching like right by that door right there, by that table. Keep watching right over by there. Whole time I'm thinking somebody following her. So we trying to go over the film and just keep watching. Look. My hand is shaking. Right there.
What is that?
What the heck? Bro, that's a rock from that table right there. Those are stones, and those in bowls right there by that table. And that one of them stones just fell on the floor.
And there's no way that should happen, because there's no wind in there.
Wind ain't even gonna do that though. This is crazy, yo.
I don't know.
Somebody explain this to me. Please somebody explain to me what the hell that just was.
As the guard reviewed the footage, he noticed something no one had pointed out before. Just moments after Aria bolted down the corridor screaming, a shadow streaked along the wall, right behind her. There was no person present, and nothing nearby that could have cast it, making it impossible to dismiss. The evidence only grew stronger when, later in the same footage, a rock sitting in a decorative bowl on a nearby table suddenly launched to the floor. With both events caught on camera, the conclusion seemed undeniable. Whatever Aria was fleeing from that night, a ghost was following her. Tasha was filming casually around her living room, showing her viewers the cozy space she'd recently purchased. The clip begins calmly, the camera panning across the room with warm lighting before she starts walking toward the door that separates the living room from the hallway.
See, and you think I'm crazy. The first time I'm here by myself, there's a picture on the floor, and it just...
She points out the picture that fell on the floor, and then, just as she's about to turn the camera away, the translucent glass door in front of her creaks open slightly on its own, holding there for a few seconds before slamming shut with force. The sound echoes through the room, startling her so badly that she gasps and immediately runs for her life. This is when the clip cuts off entirely. She later said she was completely alone in the house at the time and hadn't experienced anything like it before. Whatever caused that door to move had to have been something unseen, something powerful enough to make her run without looking back. In her follow-up video, Tasha responds to a comment that reads, "I feel like there's a hole in the wall. That's where it's coming from." Wanting to prove there was no hidden space or trick behind what happened, she took her camera to the kitchen and began showing every corner in detail. She moved the lens slowly across the walls, the counters, and the door frames, tapping at the drywall to show it was solid. There were no cracks, no holes, nothing even close to what some people suggested could be behind the strange movement of the door. She even opened a few cabinets to show that they didn't connect anywhere, and that the area behind the wall was just insulation and wood. After the video ended, she swore it happened again. The door slammed. But that's for you to decide whether you believe it or not. A few days after Tasha's eerie encounters, she finally decided to call in investigators to get some real answers. 2 men arrived at her home and spent several hours there, scanning each room with their equipment, asking questions, and trying to make contact with whatever was inside.
I would like to speak to us. Can you say hi? Hi.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
So we're gonna go another room.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. Okay.
I'd like to knock books over. Can you say hi? Mommy. Mommy.
Are you trying to find your mommy?
Are you looking for mommy? Yes.
Yes. I am nowhere even near it. And it's going off like crazy.
Yeah, it's...
So,
I definitely feel something else. Whoa, look at the EMF.
Yeah.
In the hall? In the hall.
Okay.
So that is where my dog gets scared.
Right.
So
We're going to the hall. So here.
You wanted us to come to the hall? Want to say hi? What the heck?
Was that you?
Greg, is that you? As you could tell. Was that you, Greg?
As one of them asked the spirit to say something if it was present, a small, childlike voice could be heard from nowhere, saying the word, "Mommy." The men froze for a moment before one asked gently, "Are you looking for your mommy?" And again, the same soft voice replied, "Yes." It was clear and distinct enough to be caught on their recorders. Following the faint responses, they slowly moved toward the hallway, where one of the investigators said he felt a sudden chill. Seconds later, a framed photo resting on a counter tipped forward and fell. That was enough for them. They confirmed the presence of a spirit and told Tasha they'd be back soon to perform a cleansing to help the lost voice finally move on. Subscribe because I'll include that in another video if they post it. The video starts mid-chaos, the camera shaky, as a man and woman both sound audibly distressed. The focus quickly lands on a closet door in front of them, as it's rattling violently, the door shaking aggressively, as if something is trapped inside trying to get out. The woman can be heard saying that the doors are brand new, installed only a week ago, making the whole thing even more unnerving.
Honey, what is that?
Oh
Hey
my
God,
God.
oh my God,
Okay,
oh my
okay.
God, oh my God.
I'm gonna go look.
These are the new closet doors, guys. The new closet doors that we just installed. Oh my God, okay. Nothing. Nothing in the closet. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Be careful.
Okay, no.
Okay, so clearly installing these doors, as you guys can see, we're still dealing with whatever is in our bedroom closet. I don't know, but freaked right out. Look at the dog, she's like, what the hell?
The man slowly approaches, trying to calm both of them down as the shaking continues, then grips the door and pulls it wider. The moment he does, everything stops. The door swings wide to reveal nothing but neatly hung clothes and shelves, completely untouched. To be sure, he even steps to the other side and checks behind it, but there's still nothing there. The clip cuts shortly after, the atmosphere thick with fear and confusion, and I'm asking you guys what you think the couple should do next, so let me know in the comments. A mother and her daughter had taken their night vision camera out late one evening, hoping to film the quiet countryside near their home. What they caught instead has left them, and everyone who's seen it, deeply unsettled.
Okay. Don't move in there. No, there's a motorcycle. See?
I don't see nothing down there. Can't be the motorcycles, honey. There's nothing sparkling. You see what I'm saying?
What is that?
A tree.
No. You moved it, right? Right there. See it?
Uh-huh.
Look.
There's nobody there. Where? I can't see it.
Look. Isn't it those people?
Can't be.
There's nobody
Not up
down
in the trees.
There's nobody down there no more. See?
As they scanned across a wide, open field, faint movement could be seen in the distance. The shapes weren't solid or human. They drifted across the grass like translucent figures made of mist, slow and deliberate, almost aware they were being watched. The mother and daughter were whispering between themselves, their voices trembling as they tried to focus the camera. The air was completely still, no fog, no wind, yet these forms moved as if they had purpose, gliding from one side of the field to the other before fading away completely. After the clip ends, she explains that the land once belonged to an old farmhouse that burned down decades ago, taking with it the family who lived there. Many now believe what they saw that night were the lingering spirits of those who never left the field where their home once stood. Caitlin had been trying to fall asleep when the first noise startled her awake. It was the unmistakable sound of a door opening and slamming somewhere in her house. Groggy but tense, she grabbed her phone and started recording, determined to catch whatever was happening.
Oh my god.
As she walked downstairs, the noises continued, echoing through the hallway like heavy footsteps, or doors being forced shut over and over again. The occasional dragging sound echoed too. She called out softly, but no one answered. The moment she reached the bottom of the stairs, a loud thud echoed from deeper inside the house, startling her enough to sprint back upstairs to her room. Breathing heavily, she shut the door behind her and then jumped into bed, where she could get some level of comfort. The sounds seemed to follow, faint, slow, and deliberate, growing closer until they stopped just outside her room. Then, silence. The clip cuts there, leaving only the tension of what might come next. Caitlin has since admitted she's been trying to find ways to solve her problem, whether through spiritual cleansing or getting someone to investigate her house. But for now, she's just hoping the noises don't return. The next video picks up just a day after the last one, and Caitlin's horrors have far from stopped. She's in bed again, her phone recording from the covers, the only light coming from her bedside lamp. The sound of footsteps begins really loudly as slow, deliberate stomps echo up the staircase. Each one gets heavier, closer, until they stop right outside her door. There's a long pause, just the sound of her shaky breathing. Then the handle on her bedroom door starts to rattle violently, as if someone is trying to force their way in. The handle suddenly stops, and for a few seconds, everything is silent. Then, the door creaks open slowly on its own, revealing an empty hallway. Before she can even react, it slams shut again with a force that shakes the camera. The video cuts abruptly after that moment, and Caitlin later explains that she's been looking into how to sell the house altogether, saying she doesn't care what it takes, she just wants out before things get any worse. Jackson had been home alone for most of the evening when a series of rhythmic bangs started echoing from downstairs. At first, he ignored them, thinking it might just be the pipes or the wind outside. But the knocks were too deliberate and evenly spaced, and always coming from the same direction. He grabbed his phone and began recording as he made his way down the staircase, each step creaking beneath him while the knocking continued from the storage room at the back of the house. When he reached the door, the sound stopped. He hesitated for a moment, then slowly turned the handle and pushed it open. The room was still, and nothing looked out of place. Cautiously, he stepped inside, scanning every corner, just as he whispered to himself that it must have been nothing. A miscellaneous box shifted, sliding forward ever so slightly on its own. Jackson froze, breathing hard, before backing out of the room without saying a word. The clip ends there, leaving viewers convinced whatever's inside that storage room isn't done trying to make itself known. Mattie had been spending a quiet evening at home when she started to hear strange noises outside. At first, it sounded almost like a man mumbling, low and muffled, but she couldn't quite make out the words. Curiosity and a touch of fear got the better of her, so she grabbed a flashlight and her phone before stepping out the front door, shutting it firmly behind her.
Hearing the craziest noises. Listen. I gotta check this out. Ruby. Where the f did it go? What the? Oh my God. Hello? Is anyone there? Oh my God. Holy shit. Thought I heard those noises again.
I heard them last night.
I didn't see anything, but I wanted to just look.
Probably just an animal or something.
Yeah. I keep seeing all those cats.
The camera picked up the sound of bushes rustling nearby, and Mattie moved quickly, scanning around them with her light, her voice shaky as she tried to call out. Just when she thought maybe it was nothing, she spun around while still recording, and in that pan across the yard, the lens caught something ducking back behind a tree. The figure moved fast enough that it could almost be dismissed, but its shape was far too uncanny to ignore. Afterwards, Mattie's boyfriend insisted that it was probably just an animal, an animal startled by the flashlight. Still, Mattie couldn't shake the feeling that what she saw wasn't any animal at all. Hugo and two of his friends had always laughed at the idea of ghosts, so when they heard about a supposedly haunted house nearby, they decided to go check it out for themselves. None of them expected much, other than just a night of fun, a little adrenaline, and maybe a good story to tell afterward. When they entered the building, they found it in shambles, with broken furniture, dust, and debris scattered everywhere. They explored room after room, joking and pointing out the eerie state of the place, still convinced nothing supernatural would come of it.
Casa brugada. Loco, pero porque yo tengo que ir al frente. Venga, culero. Loco, espérate.
¿Por qué no se puede?
Loco, yo siento como que alguien los está viendo de adentro. Aquella. Yo. Dale, loco, vete al frente.
Ey, loco, tú me siento como que ando en El Salvador, ¿no? Te digo algo, Hugo. Como yo soy el único que no está grabando. ¿Tú no estás grabando? Nosotros dos somos los que vamos a ver esto más rápido que mira, grafiten hecho ahí, qué vergüenza. Esta mierda. No, voy aquí, debe haber todo. Dale, loco, vamos. Ey, ya. Con respeto, no conocemos, sí. Es que mira cómo está.
Güey, esta mierda se nos va a caer encima.
Dale, dale,
ten cuidado, viejo. Ey, tengan cuidado donde pisan, loco.
Para todos lados, ¿no? Ey, loco, tú me siento como que ando en El Salvador, loco. Le digo algo, Hugo. Como yo soy el único que no está grabando. ¿Tú estás grabando? Nosotros dos somos los que vamos a ver esto más rápido que mira, grafiten hecho ahí, qué vergüenza. Esta mierda. No, voy aquí, debe haber todo armado. Dale, loco, vamos. ¿Qué pasó, loco? Este man, que cogamos, bro.
Cuidado, man.
Ey, pero no va a caer este techo, güey.
No, también no va a caer sí. Por ahí no quieren ver, mira cómo está todo eso así.
Sí, pues las tablas no creo, es un fierro lo que tiene. A ver.
Entonces voy para acá, güey, la parte para allá y a ver, papá.
But at the very end of their footage, a brief and chilling image appeared. A faint figure, resembling a ghostly woman, seemed to be standing inside the building with them. Her outline was visible enough to send shivers down viewers' spines, but the group themselves hadn't noticed it at the time. They left the house still laughing, unaware of how close they might have actually come to something paranormal. What they dismissed as a harmless adventure may have been far more real than they realized. HRJ Paranormal Adventures uploaded a video titled Part 2 of 3 Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, continuing their exploration of the infamous location. The team had already captured unsettling activity in the first part, and this segment only added more fuel to the fire.
So, do you know who was down the hall that was touching all the people?
As one of the women entered a room, she panned her camera slowly around to show viewers what it looked like inside. At first glance, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, just another empty space in a decaying hospital. But if you paid close enough attention, something chilling could be spotted. Behind the glass, faint but unmistakable, sat the figure of a woman in an office chair. Her presence lasted only for a moment, turning away before fading completely as the camera swept across her. The team didn't seem to notice at the time, but the replay made it impossible to ignore. Viewers flooded the comments with their own theories, convinced that this was one of the clearest captures the group had ever recorded. HRJ Paranormal Adventures confirmed that this investigation wasn't over yet, and that the story would continue in their future videos, so be sure to subscribe and watch my videos so you don't miss it. On Thursday, August 10th of 2015, a corner store security camera recorded something that has left both staff and viewers disturbed. At first, the footage seemed normal, showing empty aisles late at night, but then it became clear something strange was happening. A strange, oversized shadow-like blob began moving across the shelves, not in the shape of a person, but something far more unnatural. As it shifted along, items began to fall over without anyone touching them, including things such as produce rolling across the floor, random balls moving on their own, and smaller goods scattering down the aisle. The employees who reviewed the tape the next day were shaken, unsure how to even begin explaining what they had seen. The manager, visibly stressed, admitted he was less concerned about whether it was paranormal and more focused on the aftermath. With merchandise all over the floor and customers starting to whisper about the haunting, he's been trying to find a cleanser willing to deal with the spirit in order to help banish it. Who knows how that will go, though. A babysitter was going about what she thought would be a normal night's work when she stumbled onto something she'll never forget. The kids were asleep, the house was quiet, but as she walked through some of the rooms, she noticed something strange.
I'm babysitting and I just found the creepiest thing. Look at this. What is that? Oh my god. No, but what is it? It's so creepy. It's freaking me out. Is this real hair? Oh my god. And look. Ugh. Guys, I just came in to make dinner and look what I found. footage! It's a boy this time. Oh my god. Why would you... Look at that. Why would anyone have this in their house? Honestly, it's the creepiest thing I've ever seen. Oh my god, it has another bell. Oh my god. Guys, guess who I am? The light started going insane. Let me show you. Okay, wait for it because it was literally just happening a second ago. Max? Better not be out of bed. Okay, I think I'm just gonna get him and go because it's really freaking me out.
There were two doll-like figures leaning face first against the wall in separate rooms, and what made it worse was that they both had real human hair attached to them. Unsettled but curious, she set up a camera facing a mirror, imitating one of the dolls to see if anything unusual would happen. What the footage showed shocked her massively. Reflected in the mirror, one of the dolls suddenly sprinted into another room despite being stationary in real life. After that, she began to notice their positions shifting around the house without her ever touching them. At that point, she decided enough was enough and made for the door. But before she could leave, every single light in the house suddenly turned off at once, plunging her into darkness. For the babysitter, what started as just another job became a nightmarish experience that still haunts her. The following footage wasn't filmed in a single night, but instead collected over the course of 2 months. It came from the security cameras of a man's home, where he had grown convinced something paranormal was going on. He wanted enough evidence to finally bring in professional help, so he kept his cameras rolling constantly, documenting everything he could. In week 1, the activity began with his pantry door swinging open and slamming shut by itself, followed almost immediately by the faint, unsettling sound of a child's toy playing music, even though no one was near it. Weeks passed with smaller disturbances, but by week 8, the activity escalated. A glass suddenly tipped and fell from the counter, shattering across the floor, while the chandelier overhead started to sway and rattle without any draft or reason. The final straw of that night came when a chair slowly dragged itself back from under the dining table, inch by inch, as though someone invisible was pulling it. Despite all of this, the man, whose name is JP, was told it still isn't enough hard evidence for most ghost hunters to intervene. They need more before they'll take on the case. So for now, JP continues to collect footage, hoping that the next clip will finally prove once and for all what he already knows is haunting his home. Two men were exploring what locals claimed to be a haunted facility, and the deeper they went, the heavier the atmosphere became. The silence was thick until suddenly, one of them stopped and pointed. He swore he had just heard a strange noise coming from behind the heavy curtains near the church area of the building.
Oh my god. These things are everywhere. It's cold as hell. No, I hear something. I heard something.
Get out.
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. There's something. Don't move!
They cautiously approached, hearts pounding, and one of them mustered the courage to quickly yank the curtains back. Behind them wasn't anything menacing, but rather an old, dust-covered playroom filled with forgotten toys and faded furniture. They searched it quickly, trying to convince themselves there was nothing sinister about the noise. But just as they were about to leave, something happened that sent them both running. Across the room stood a small toy house, its roof painted pink, with its tiny door left open. Without warning, the door suddenly slammed shut with force, as if someone inside had pushed it closed. The two men didn't wait to see what would happen next. They bolted out of the room and out of the facility entirely, convinced they'd gotten too close to whatever haunted the place. C's Crazy Crossroads, the ghost hunter with nearly 50,000 subscribers who has appeared in past videos, had already been through several terrifying moments earlier that same day at the contractor's haunted house. He'd heard unexplained noises, seen objects move, and felt the kind of chill that tells you something isn't right. By the time of his next clip, you could tell he was still shaken, but determined to keep filming.
I'm glad you guys didn't see that, because it was definitely scary as hell, so. Oh, see, look at that fucking ladder move! I'm telling you, there's something in here. There's something in here. This place is so friggin' creepy, there's something in here. Holy shit. Guys, I don't understand this. Ah! Me!
This time, while searching another part of the house, he came across an old ladder leaning against the wall. At first, it was just part of the clutter, nothing unusual, but as his camera stayed fixed on it, the ladder began to tremble on its own, rattling hard enough that it could have toppled. He froze, audibly nervous, admitting how much it rattled him to see something that heavy moving without a person near it. After everything else that had already happened, this was the moment that pushed his fear through the roof. He said later that it was the closest he'd come to just leaving his gear behind and walking straight out, and viewers could see why. The activity wasn't slowing down at all, but instead, it was escalating. Mike has always been the kind of person who notices the little things, small movements, changes in sound, anything slightly out of place. Lately though, those little things in his home have been happening far too often for comfort. He says it started with odd sounds at night, but recently the activity has been bold enough to catch in daylight. That's when he decided to start filming, just to have proof of what he was seeing. The footage starts in his dining room, where a wooden chair at the table slides itself just a few inches across the floor. In the second part, the camera is in the kitchen, capturing one of the drawers pulling open slowly and deliberately, as though someone was standing right there. Finally, the third clip shows a wall sticker in his living room peeling away from the surface on its own, curling toward the floor with no one touching it. Mike says all three moments happened within days of each other, and while none of them were violent, the fact that they keep escalating has him wondering just how far this is going to go. Mateo works nights as a security guard at a large hospital, a job that's usually more about patience than action. Most shifts are long stretches of quiet hallways, the occasional patient wandering in confusion, and the hum of fluorescent lights. But he says that over the past few weeks, strange things have been happening, such as unexplained noises, flickering lights, and shadows where there shouldn't be any. That's when he decided to start filming during his rounds, just in case.
Se oye una voz rara aquí como... Ush. Son las domingo. No hay nadie. La silla se mueve sola, se apagaron las luces cuando entré. No hay nadie en el baño.
The footage begins in one of the hospital's empty corridors. A chair sitting against the wall suddenly slides a long distance across the floor, scraping as it moves. Just a second later, something faint and humanoid appears to shift around the corner at the far end of the hall. Matteo immediately rushes over, the camera shaking as he turns the corner, only to find absolutely nothing there. No footsteps, no movement, no sign that anyone had been in the area at all. He says the hospital's night staff have whispered about hauntings for years, but after that encounter, Matteo admits he's starting to believe them. Let's just hope if this place is haunted, the spirit leaves soon. Sarah had just finished putting her daughter to bed and was settling down to watch some TV in the living room. It was a quiet night, the kind where everything feels normal and peaceful. But then, out of nowhere, she heard a familiar sound coming from her daughter's room, a toy starting to play music on its own. Confused and a little uneasy, she grabbed her phone and decided to film what was happening.
If you scare easily, use your discernment, but this is the completely uncut and unfiltered clips that I took tonight after a couple of really weird things happened in my house. My daughter's been asleep for 2 hours. She's all the way over there. How is this standing up perfectly upright and turned on? She can't reach that. Hi, baby. And she's dead asleep when that thing just came on. There's no way.
Sarah cautiously enters the dimly lit room, pointing the camera toward the toy. It's sitting upright on the desk, far out of reach, and playing music by itself. Sarah quickly turns it off, her breath shaky, clearly unsettled by what she just witnessed. Afterwards, Sarah says she's reached out to paranormal experts, hoping they can help explain or put an end to the strange occurrences in her home. She's left wondering if this is just a harmless glitch or something far more unsettling. Around 1:45, a family began receiving repeated notifications of movement detected by their security cameras. Concerned, the father immediately checked his phone to see what was causing the alerts. The footage shows a dark, demonic-looking head slowly peeking around a corner. The image is unsettling, and unlike anything they had seen before. Despite the chilling sight, the family remains unsure what to make of it. Some suggest it could be a strange light reflection or a trick of the camera lens, while others worry it might be something far more sinister. For now, the mystery remains unresolved, leaving them on edge and unsure what to expect next. Marco works as a security guard at a local mall and recently started noticing strange motion detections coming from the basement. His boss instructed him to go check it out and bring his camera along, just in case.
Dios, esto sí que es extraño. Acabo de prender la cámara porque la silla que estaba junto a las otras empezó a moverse. Eran 4 sillas, pero una empezó a moverse. Está detrás de la columna, a tan solo unos metros. No puedo ver. Allí está de nuevo moviéndose de nuevo. No puedo creerlo. Viene hacia mí. Creo que viene hacia mí. Maldita silla. Maldita silla. Se está moviendo. Maldita silla. Maldita silla. Maldita silla. Maldita silla. Se está moviendo. Estoy atrás de la caja registradora. No puede ser. Creo que algo extraño sucede aquí. Como muy extraño sucede. Otra vez la silla, maldita silla se está moviendo. Se está moviendo, maldita sea. Maldita sea. Maldita sea. Maldita sea. Esa maldita silla se está moviendo de nuevo. Parece que no se queda. Por Dios, esa maldita silla. Esa maldita silla. Creo que voy a llamar al 911. Creo que llamaré al 911.
Down in the dimly lit basement, Marco films as a red chair slowly slides across the floor, inching closer to him on its own. The movement is eerie and completely unexplained. After the clip, Marco admitted feeling shaken, but stayed professional. He's still unsure what caused the chair to move, and plans to report it to his supervisors while staying alert for anything else unusual. The whole experience left him questioning what might really be lurking in the basement. Macchio had recently moved into a new home, still unpacking boxes and adjusting to the unfamiliar surroundings. Despite the excitement of a fresh start, he kept noticing odd things such as small sounds, items slightly out of place, but nothing he could quite explain. One night, just as he was settling into bed, a persistent rustling noise from downstairs caught his attention. Curious and a bit uneasy, he decided to investigate.
Estamos aquí en la funeraria, otra vez. Con ruidos raros. Entonces, pues, está solo. Ahora sí. ¿Cuál pinche que se ve? Que nada. Estoy solo. Estoy solo a la chingada. Estoy solo. A la chingada. A la chingada. A la vez. No mames, no mames, no mames. A la chingada.
As he filmed, several tall, pillar-like objects in the living room suddenly began to collapse one by one, falling with no visible cause or anyone near them. The way they toppled seemed deliberate, as if an unseen force was at work. Makio quickly realized this was no ordinary disturbance. This had all the hallmarks of a poltergeist. He shared the footage with his followers, explaining that while he hoped it was harmless, the activity was clearly escalating. Since then, he's been researching ways to handle such paranormal presence, considering everything from cleansing rituals to calling in experts. The experience left him cautious but determined to understand what exactly was happening in his new home. Ian, known for his solo explorations of abandoned places, ventured into the backstage area of a long-forgotten theater. The corridors were lined with dusty props and old equipment, remnants of a bygone era. He marveled at the intricate lifts and old beauty mirrors, capturing the eerie beauty of the decaying space. At first, everything seemed calm, the silence only broken by the creaks of the building settling. But then, something weird happened.
Backstage area. I hear that a former costume designer haunts this place. Could you give me a sign of your presence? Oh wow, look at that. That's the underneath of the stage. This looks like where actors would go through. They go through that door right there. And then this looks like some kind of lift or something. If there's anybody over here, could you make a noise for me? Oh my gosh, that scared me. That's just the motion light. Whew. Dang. Hello? Anyone back here? I thought I heard something up there. Hello? Let's go up there and find out what it was.
Faint noises echoed from upstairs, and it was super creepy, considering this was a solo mission. Ian's curiosity piqued, and he decided to investigate further. Subscribe to my channel to see the full clip of his upstairs adventure and to follow his ongoing investigations into the paranormal. A man was out shopping, carrying his dog safely in his arms as he moved through the aisles. Everything seemed normal at first, but then his dog suddenly started squirming, twisting and turning as if desperate to get down. The man was puzzled, but gently tried to calm the dog, thinking it might just be restless. After a few tense moments, the dog finally managed to slip from his hold and land on the floor. What happened next was truly bizarre and unsettling. The video shows something invisible bending the man's finger all the way back in a way that looked painful, but no one or nothing was visibly there to cause it. What makes this especially chilling is that ghost encounters rarely involve physical pain, so for something unseen to cause actual discomfort is frightening and very unusual. The man himself looked shocked and confused, clearly shaken by the experience, and viewers watching the clip have been left wondering what exactly could have caused this strange event in the middle of an otherwise normal shopping trip. A man was relaxing in bed watching TV, the room dimly lit and calm as he ironically filmed the film on the television. He'd been feeling uneasy for days, claiming small things in his room would be moved when he wasn't looking. Wanting to capture anything strange, he began filming.
Loco, estaba durmiendo, me acaba de levantar, loco, estoy cagado de las patas. Fuera de joda me puse en alabanza, amigo. Estaba durmiendo y de ahí arriba... Mirá, boludo. No lo puedo creer. Necesito, boludo.
As he pans the camera toward his wardrobe, a box perched high up suddenly slides forward, pushing a can from the very top. The can bounces off the edge, and after bouncing somehow, landing upright on the floor, in full view of the camera, the man audibly gasps, his breathing sharp as he realizes what just happened. The clip cuts with him still holding the phone toward the wardrobe, the camera shaking slightly, as though he didn't know whether to get up or stay put. People online said the way the can landed upright added an extra layer of unease, making it feel impossible for the moment to be a coincidence. The following clip opens with bad quality footage under warm, dim lighting, giving everything a slightly grainy and uneasy look. The person behind the camera is slowly panning around the entrance of their house, trying to capture the full view as if they were documenting something already unsettling. If you pay close attention, just by the door frame, a pair of faint, ghostly legs can be seen walking past. They were transparent and slow, as though whoever it was wasn't fully there. The figure vanishes just as the camera tilts slightly, making it hard to catch, unless you pause at the right moment. Fortunately, the person behind the camera noticed, and the family is currently arguing whether it was a trick of the light or genuine proof of a spirit lingering in the home. Either way, the combination of the bad camera quality and the warm lighting made the moment feel even more surreal and haunting. Who knows what will happen next for the family? Sierra had just bought a new home, one with a reputation for being haunted, and decided to film a vlog about fixing it up. Alone that day, she climbed a ladder to start some small renovations, her back to the camera.
How did you... How did you get out there? Okay, let's try this again.
A few moments later.
There's no way that this is a thing. I don't think you understand. There is zero way that she could unlock that, open it, shut it, and lock it. How are you doing this?
Midway through her work, she suddenly heard the sound of something sliding across the floor, followed by what unmistakably sounded like a door shutting. Confused, she grabbed her camera and walked toward the noise, finding her dog waiting anxiously outside the door. She let him back in, but his behavior was off, and he seemed tense and unsettled, staring at the door as if something was still on the other side. Trying to shrug it off, Sierra set the camera back up and climbed back onto the ladder to continue filming. Moments later, the same sequence of noises happened again. The strange part was how the door had clearly opened, shut, and locked, without her or her dog near it. And with her dog being so small, there was no chance he could have done it. Whatever was happening seemed to be tied to the house itself, leaving Sierra visibly shaken as she tried to keep filming for proof. With the unsettling incidents piling up, Sierra decided to set up additional cameras around the house to see if she could capture anything else happening when she wasn't holding the phone. In one of the new clips, her sister and fiancé were in the nursery they were preparing for their upcoming baby, decorating the room and chatting quietly.
Where did you drop it?
On the paper.
Oh my god.
What was that?
What the hell?
A few moments later.
Out of nowhere, the nursery door slammed shut hard enough to rattle the walls. Both of them froze, staring at the door, before her sister cautiously opened it again and stepped out into the hallway to look for any possible cause. There was no draft, no loose hinges, no one else in the house. Trying to shake it off, they went back to work. But shortly after, while her sister was stepping into another room to grab something, the nursery door slammed again with the same force, startling them all over again. By this point, even Sierra's family was beginning to believe something was wrong with the house. She later explained on social media that everyone had agreed to stop working in the rooms alone, and the nursery remained unfinished. They were already discussing whether to bring in a professional investigator or even abandon the renovation plans altogether.